Hello there, Big Benedict here. We're playing God of War 3 Remastered on Chaos difficulty, and this is my Pain Plus guide and walkthrough. We're currently on Installment the 4th. It is entitled Hades Continued. So in the last video, I forgot that there are more encounters with Minotaur brutes. One of the encounters is right over here, and if you want, up and to the right there's a portal that will take you conveniently right to the save point, and you can have a quick time getting back here. However, they give you a checkpoint over here too, so it's a little bit unnecessary in my opinion. But when I did this before, I didn't know that there was a nice nifty spot for ring outs over here. I don't think that you can ring out these enemies in any other place, but this top part here definitely accommodates ring outs, and I'm appreciative for that. Now, it's just a brute, and they are the lowest tier of Minotaur with the lowest amount of HP, so it's a bit unnecessary, but I always find it fun to quickly take out enemies like that. And I have skipped a cutscene over here, but the next set of enemies, it's a very generically titled enemy called the Hades Fiend. They're female warriors, and the only time they show up in this game is right over here. And if I'm misremembering that, I don't know where else they're found, but this is the only area that I know of that they're in this game. And they are finicky, bitchy, difficult enemies to deal with. They have very fast attacks. They do projectiles so that you can accidentally parry it and have to start over. And they also are incendiary. Now, their being incendiary is something new, because in the second game, this is an enemy that was incendiary only to the point where it threw fireballs. So I can't really call that an incendiary enemy, because when you cut that enemy in half and it's crawling around Ninja Gaiden 2 style, it has a certain amount of time where it will detonate and then blow up. So I'm glad they're only in this part of the game between you and me, because I don't enjoy fighting that enemy at all. And there's a nice amount of checkpoints over here, thankfully, for that reason. Once you come up here though, you want to run down the walk a little bit and then double back, and then you want to start out with doing square triangle to quickly stun them, and then just slap them off of the platform into the fire. Now this next part up here, I don't know what they were going for. You can push this bramble pot down a ways and it will blow up, and you can sometimes get damage on them, but that's not allowed on Pain Plus. So what I recommend is turning the pot, kicking it out of the way, and then quickly anticipating the spawn over here, square triangle immediately, and then slapping them off the platform. That's the best way that I found to deal with that enemy. The checkpoint is wonderful though, it's right over here, so you can just start right away. But again, I don't really know what they're going for with that part. It's very strange in my opinion. But there's only 2 more of those enemies left, and they spawn when you've pulled the lever and when you've pulled this pot onto the lift. That time and no time else. So again, you want a square triangle, because the regular triangle is a bit too slow. But yeah, square triangle. I don't appreciate them blocking, but it's fine. Square triangle, and then just slap them off. And if they're at some other point of the game, I've been searching my memory, and I just can't remember them being anywhere else. And again, I think that's a good thing. But coming back to this game, I'm just astounded at the number of fights that you don't have to do in this game. Now, of course, this game has such glorious combat that the combat is such a treat that you want to do it. But if you are just running past things for the sake of saving time, you might be surprised at just how much you don't have to do in this game. And the reason I bring that up is because this encounter with Stone Talos is skippable. You can just run past everything and head on into the forge. But that's not something that I do. I will be skipping tiny engagements that just have grunts in them sometimes, but for the most part, like 95% of the fights in this game will be done, or even more than that. But you can definitely spirit horror your pants off over here if you want to, and they're on this sort of AI where they can only go a little bit up the way and then no further. So what I would recommend though is, do you know how in God of War 1 and 2 you could also use the Aphrodite's garter to get the Blades of Athena back? So you can test this. But in God of War 1 and 2, and also in Chains of Olympus, but I'm just talking about the two main first games, to get the T attack, it was a very slow wind up to do the T. And what players would do is they will use the square and then the T to string those two moves together to output for the quicker output of the triangle. And of course you got a little bit of damage with the square attack, but again it was small. And in this game the square attack does a very small amount of damage, so you want to be using the T attack. But starting in this game, the S and T, there is no stringing in between them. Okay, there is no dependence on the one for the other. And what I mainly say that is, T does not depend on S to do a fast T. Although in this game versus Ascension, the T takes a little bit too long for my liking to come out. I think in Ascension they decreased it by a millisecond or two, and you could actually tell that. And I don't like it. The T takes a long time to come out, but again, there's no faster way of outputting it because of the fact that the S and the T, there's no link between them, if you will. And I'm sorry if that's a little bit complicated, but I will try as I go through these videos to clear that up as much as possible. So what do you want to do instead of doing well, I was going to say ST, but there really is no ST as far as it being a combo. Of course, you can press S and then T, but the T will come out the same. So you don't want to start with the S for that reason. You just want to start with the T for that reason because it does more damage. So throughout this walkthrough, you'll see me start with T and then press S after that and then T again if I can complete the combo, or if I can't, I'll press TSS, or different variations. Also, square triangle is viable. You know, try not to think of it as a beginner's move. It might very well be that, but it's still got a good amount of utility. That don't shirk that move off just because it's a quote-unquote beginner's move. To me, it's an easy startup, like a starter combo for folks, but the utility of it can't be denied. And you don't have all of the recovery time with that move as you did in Ascension with that move. So, okay, this is an area that you visit twice in this game, and I do want to proudly say that when we get back here post Hades boss fight, I have this room cleared no damage for you, and that was a big thing for me coming back because that was the one that got away for sure. The big one that got away. This Hell's Carousel down here, or whatever you want to call it. I could not do it last time. It took me so long and I gave up on it, but I do have it finished. No damage. I've done it twice now, and I'll mention why I did it twice in a moment, but you are going to be dealing with these whelps on that fight, and I just want to say, because I'll be saying it a lot, you don't want to get into the position where you're being selective about what dog you're choosing, okay? This is about grab whoring and nothing else, okay? Don't go out of your way to grab a dog that will put you at risk. You can't aim which dogs you're throwing around. Only if you're grabbing one that doesn't have the ending animation and you're kicking it, he will kick in a straight line. So that's the only way that you can really aim about what you're doing there. But this game does not accommodate grabbing a dog. Like, you know how in God of War 2 where you would grab a dog and you could toggle the aim of what you want to throw it at. Well, this game just doesn't accommodate that for some reason. So you have to be very keen about not being selective, and it works. If you just spam circle and it's a big spamming fest, it's going to work for you. But the problem is, you've got Stone Taloses to worry about on that fight that's coming up post Hades. But if you can remember that you don't need you being selective on those dogs is going to be your downfall. So it's that component as well as repositioning, because you're going to inevitably have one Stone Talus that you fight with those fucking dogs, and repositioning is going to be key, as well as using the combat roll. So those three things: the combat roll, repositioning, and not being selective about the dogs. And it's awful. It's brief, but it's very just terrifying about not doing it, but of course, doing it without getting hit. And why did I do it twice? I did it twice because the first time I did it, I did it really quick, like within 30 minutes, and the footage that I had was me being really indecisive and trying to, like, pressing pause a lot and trying to think of what to do. And I did it, and I didn't know if it was a fluke, so I tried it over again, and then within a few hours, it took a few hours this time, I did it, but I had to know if that first time was a fluke. And it turned out that it wasn't. That those tools that I told you are exactly what you need to clear that and not take damage. But one big issue you'll run onto that fight is accidentally grabbing a Stone Talus, recoiling it off him, and getting overrun by the dogs. It's one of the big problems, but that's why repositioning comes into play. But still, it's a horrendous, hellish encounter. Thank God it's brief, because it's just so difficult. Okay, I will see you in the 5th installment. Please take care.